Hello everyone, welcome back to the Chef Somjeet Singh channel. I'm here to help you guys with the, especially those are doing job ready program and the chef skill assessment. I will help you with those tests. As you already know, we have been discussing all the questions from last couple of days, and every day I keep posting it 5 question and answers and which are recently asked. And make sure you watch those videos regularly. If you are new on this channel, don't forget to subscribe it, and don't forget to like and share as well. So let's begin with question 20 was for how long you can use the raw meat after the manufacture date. So I think we have already discussed that question in the last video. So question number 21st, what should be the manufacture date when you receive delivery of the raw meats and the week, months and day? So usually in the delivery dockets, when you receive the delivery, always on the product there is a use by date, expiry date, or there is a label always written on it. So you have to make sure whenever you check the delivery, so you have to find it when it was manufactured and what is the packaging date and what is the intended use. Everything is written on there, so you can easily check that. And the question number 22nd, how do you find when does the food cooked? Especially when you cook meat or the chicken or the seafood, it is very important to use thermometer in the kitchen. There are different types of thermometer. One is infrared thermometer, which is you use with the laser gun, and one is another probe thermometer which has sharp needle at the front, and you put that into the meat inside and just check the temperature, so it tells you the internal temperature. So there are two ways you can check the temperature, through the laser infrared probe, and the another one is probe thermometer. So these are the two ways to check it. Question number 23, what is label, why it is important, what is FIFO? Labeling is very important. Putting label on the food, it helps to maintain the quality and standard of the product, and we can easily recognize that which item is prepared first and which item is prepared last. And this also help in follow first in first out principle. We can easily recognize through the FIFO principle. So this is the very important. Whenever we use any item, we have to put labels on that product and keep it safe. Question number 24, which days you are having day off? So according to your roster, according to your timetable, you can tell which day you are having day off, which days you're working, and what is your shift timings. According to your shifts, you can tell them. According to your roster, you can explain in your answers. Question number 25, what are the putting chocolate and sticky date pudding in a steamer, and why can't you put in a microwave or baking? This is especially for the bakery people. Those are working in a bakery, so they must know the answer. So usually when you steam them, so there is a lot of moisture and it helps to easily get sheen color on the chocolate, and it also helps to get more softened through the steaming. But if you do microwave, then maybe the moisture and the content not as we expect. So it is very important, either you can just use steam boiler, or you can use steam Banbury, or you can use in a steamer. So there are the different ways to melt the chocolate. But this is question not related to your menu. If you have any dessert related to the pudding or related to the dates and related to the chocolates, then you must know how do you make it, or how do you melt it, or how do you steam it. So you know those methods. But as long as there is nothing in the menu related to those, so don't worry about that. The next question 26 is differences between baking and roasting. This is a cookery method question. So what are the method do you use it? We have already discussed. So roasting and baking. Mainly if you say, if you're working in an Indian restaurant, I would say we use roasting when we cook tandoori chicken tikka or kebabs, paneer tikkas, like those, which directly heats to the product on the all over, or on the top, or from the bottom, from the sides, from the up, which directly heat the product, and there is no cover or nothing. That we call it roasting, which is a direct heat to the product. And the baking is usually we on certain temperature we bake the product, such as cake. Mostly it used for the baking cakes, naan breads and different muffins. So roasting is to roast the meat directly with the hot air, but baking is certain temperature which we bake it for 45 minutes or 30 minutes or 60 minutes, depends on what item you are cooking in. Question number 27, For how long you can keep the food in a hot box? What do you do with leftover food? Any food item which is kept in a hot box more than 4 hours, it has to be discarded. So there the 2 to 4 hours rule will be applied. And what do you do with the leftover food? If you keep out within a 2 hours, in first 2 hours you can store it, you can cool it down, but more than 2 hours, if still there in the hot box, you cannot use it. So whatever is left over, you have to discard it safely because you cannot use that for your next service. How do you reduce the food wastage? Very good question. When you work in a hospitality, it is very important to control the food wastage, because if your food cost high, then your business may go in the loss. To control that, you can say, I train my staff, I gave them training like how they can control food wastage. All the trimmings of chickens, meat, or veggies, we use those extra trimmings in our sauce, stock, and soups. We don't waste anything in the kitchen, and most probably we also keep an eye the how many numbers we have in restaurants, how many bookings we have, and how busy we are. According to those numbers, we prepare our stock or we do mise in place. And also we don't order in a bulk, because we only order according to the numbers we gonna serve. We always have the backup, but not unnecessary backups. We keep it. We always check stock regularly. Even every night when we finish service, we make sure what stock we have in our hand. According to that, we make a prep list, and how many numbers we have for the next service. We all these keep in mind, and there will be a proper FIFO principle in place. So where the first in comes first, later comes late. So that method we are following in our restaurants. By following these steps, we control the food wastage. The next question is 29. What should be the temperature of the hot box? If you keep anything is cooked food in the hot box, the make sure the hot box temperature is above 60 degree. From above 60 to it can go 65, 70, 75. But you have to make sure that if you keep more higher temperature, your food quality may get off and may get deteriorated. So you have to be very careful when you keep your food in a hot box on certain temperature. So as long as it's above 60, it's safe to use it. Question number is 30. Why you using sanitizer spray? Very common question. Why do you use spray or the sanitizer? Before and after each task, whenever you do any task and you clean that area, you after cleaning you sanitize that area, because you don't want any cross contamination or any residue or any bacteria which can transmit in your food, or it can transmit to the ready to cook food. So sanitizer is very important to stop the bacteria or kill the bacteria and prevent the cross contamination, and also maintain the safe food handling practices in the kitchen. So sanitizer is very important to use before and after each tasks. Next question is 31. Is sanitizer going to kill 100% of bacteria and germs? This is a bit controversial. Many people say yes, many people say no, but I will say yes, but the sanitizer kills bacteria. Not 100%, but yes, majority of the bacteria it stop to get contaminate and it stops or kill them. So you can say in your answers, sanitizer is the main source which protects and which maintains safe food handling practices whenever we use any item or whenever we use any tasks. So after that task, we clean that area and we sanitize, so we can reduce the bacteria and we can prevent the food from the bacteria or germs. So that you can say in your answers. How do you kill bacteria or germs without using sanitizer and vinegar? Again, this question I have already mentioned in previous video. So there are two ways like to kill the bacteria, or if there are different ways, like they are asking ways, so we can say the first one is we can use sanitizer. But if you don't have the sanitizer, so what best we can do, we follow the safe food handling practices in the kitchen. We regularly clean the area with the lukewarm soapy water, and if our food is on outside, so we have to make sure within a 2 hours it has to be between 0 to 5 degree. If it's a hot food, so we have to make sure that the food should be cooked on the certain temperature where it can destroy the bacteria or where it can kill the bacteria. and regularly follow safe food handling practices, and always keep changing gloves and regular washing your hands. Make sure follow all the safety precautions whenever you handle ready to eat food. These are the basic steps. You can use it if you don't use sanitizer. Question number 33. Can you really kill the bacteria with the temperature, or can reduce the amount of bacteria with temperature? Yes. If you talk about the hot food, when you cook food on the hot temperature or when you reheat food on a certain temperature, it kills the bacteria in the food. But if we talk about the cold food, yes, the cold food helps to reduce the quantity of bacteria to grow in the food when we keep it in 0 to 5 degree temperature. If on the other hand, if we talk about if we keep food in a freezer, it will kill the bacteria. No, it will not kill the bacteria. Only bacteria can be minimized when we keep 0 to 5 degree temperature, but it grows but very slow. But if we kill it, we have to heat it on certain temperature to kill the bacteria. That you can say in your answer. What should be the temperature of food to prevent growing bacteria? 75 degree. If any bacteria you want to kill from your food, so you have to make sure the 75-degree temperature you can cook, and it can go beyond 85-degree max. You can do it. Ready to eat food or the fresh meat, or you would say the reheated food, so you can keep on to 75-degree temperature. So that was the question number 34, and now we're gonna discuss the next question is 35. Can you taste, smell, touch, or see the bacteria? It is very hard to see the bacteria. We can smell it and we can taste it. What happens is when any food goes off or any food is smelly or mushy, so we always check smell first, we always check appearance, and then we taste it. So appearance, if we see the bubbles, it may be chances the food got off or the food got poisonous. You can't see the bacteria in the food. That is the answer. The next question is, you change your gloves very often. Why so? That why do you keep changing your gloves? Why? It is very good practices to prevent the cross contamination, because if you are wearing same gloves doing different tasks, there may be chances of bacteria can transmit from same glove to the another food. So it is highly recommended from before and after each task you should change your gloves, wash your hands. That is the best practice, and you should also know how to take off the gloves. This is the best policy as well. This can help you to prevent cross contamination and maintain the safe food handling practices. So that is very important to keep changing the gloves after each task. How do you prevent cross contamination? We have discussed so many times. Putting raw food on the bottom shelf, putting cooked meat on the middle shelf. Never put raw and cooked food together. If any open food in the kitchen, make sure to wrap it, put in tight fit container, put the label on, and never store anything on the surface of the cool room. Make sure to store anything, use clean and sanitized containers. Never use same tea towel for your wiping your hands and cleaning the surface area or cleaning the bench surface. If you are sick, do not handle food. If you have got any scar, blood stain, or any wound on your hand, make sure to cover it with the bandage and wear gloves. Make sure when you cook food, the food has to be on the certain right temperature when you heat them or when you cook them. So these are the way you can prevent the cross contamination. Is jelly vegan? What is vegan? How do you mean by gelatin? So gelatin is not vegan. Depends. Like there are different thickening agents are there, like guar, gum, arrowroot, corn flour, and we can say gelatin. So they are the different agents, thickening agents, even egg and egg yolk. So you have to make sure that when you use anything in your restaurants, you have to be very careful what ingredients you use. If gelatin has got mostly the animal bones powder most of the times, but you have to check the ingredient first, then you can say it is vegan or not. But for me, it's not vegan if you use gelatin, but still you can double check with your head chef and your restaurant manager, so they will give you proper information on this. And what is vegan? Vegan is only people those are eating plant-based diet or plant-based food such as vegetables, salads, and fruits. That is vegan. So what do you mean by gelatin? Gelatin is animal bones powder which we usually put into the which we usually use as a thickening agent to just make a jelly, to make a mousse, like different dessert. So you can double check the ingredient before you use it, or you can confirm with your head chef. Next question is substitute of gelatin. So I already have said gelatin substitutes are, you can say, you can use eggs, you can use white eggs, you can use guar gum, you can use agar agar, you can use corn flour, arrowroot. So these are the substitute you can use instead of gelatin if you don't want to use gelatin. Where do you work before and where did you left that job? So this is about yourself, like where did you work in earlier in the previous job and why did you leave that job? So this is your totally answer. If you have worked there, you can tell about that. Why did you leave it? You can say there's a new opportunity and I got this opportunity, so I thought I will learn more on this places, that's why I left that. Where did you start? So you should know the place name. And why did you come to Australia? You come to Australia to be a good chef, to learn or gain some good skill about new culinary and how I can make my future or my career in this field and how can be a good chef. Or you can say I like the Australian atmospheres. I have heard many things about Australia and it has great opportunities and it can, everybody has the equal opportunities, so everybody can make their career pursuing through the different studies or different courses. So whatever is your decision, whatever you like about Australia, you can say in your answer. The next question is, how often do you cook at home and why do you cook at home and which is your favorite cuisine? Very simple question. If you cook at home, why? Because I like it, because I'm born in Indian culture, I'm born in any particular culture. Whatever cuisine you eat it, whatever cuisine you make it, you can tell that I usually make this, I usually make that, and I like this because I know I'm very familiar, I feel comfortable by eating this food. This is my day-to-day routine, and since my childhood, I'm eating this food. Anything you can say in this answer. And which is your favorite cuisine? It can be anything: Malaysian, Indian, Chinese, Vietnam, Indonesian, Western, American, any food. What is the menu today and how often you change the menu? So you should know what is your menu and how often do you change, 6 month, year, seasonally, quarterly, anything. Ask your head chef, he can answer you on this. Differences between a la carte menu and the buffet menu. I have explained this in my previous video. So a la carte menu is the menu which has all the options like entrees, soups, mains and the dessert, everything in there, and the specification of the price is already written there. According to the customer's choice, they can order or they can choose anything from the menu and they can place the order. That is, we call it a la carte menu, and there the menu served by the staff, the restaurant staff. And the buffet menu is basically that the varieties of options are placed on the table where you take the plate and grab it by your choice from any food. There are the variety of foods and the different options are there where you have to pay certain amount and you can eat whatever you like to eat from the buffet menu. So there is a selection of the dishes. You don't have to order specifically, so you can eat anything whichever you like. That is, we call it buffet menu. So mostly buffet menu we usually serve on the marriages. If most of them know, like if you're from India or from Australia, like, so they have the, we call it banquet as well. In the banquet they do buffet menu. The next question is, how do you change the menu? What are the things you keep in mind while changing menu? So when you change menu, so you have to make sure the three things: season. The second thing is you have to make sure what kind of clientele, what kind of customers and what kind of people live surrounding you and what their habits are and what they like to eat, that you have to know. And the third one, you have to know what is your budget. These are the three major things which you should know when you plan a menu. And apart from that, you should also know the ingredient you're gonna put in the menu. They are seasonal, they are affordable, and they are sustainable, and they are easy to access from your supplier, and you can sustain them for a longer period. These things you have to check. What do you do if any dish is run out? Communication is very important. If anything is run out during service, you have to quickly inform your front of house, back of house team. So you tell them if any is order on related to this item, this has to be sold out and you should not take any order. or try to organize any substitute if you have, or if you can do so, you can definitely inform your staff that instead of that we have this in an option, so you can notify your staff. It is very important. How do you replace a run out dish with other dishes? So similarly, if you, let's say if you finish with the chicken, so you can, instead of chicken, you can offer them some duck, you can offer them some turkey, you can offer them some other options which you have according to in your restaurants. If you don't have any options, you can't do nothing, but still if you have any alternative with the similarly dish with the same taste and only the meat is changed, so you can suggest to your staff we have this option in the menu, so you can recommend it to the customers. So that is how you can plan. What is recipe? Why do you follow recipe? So recipe is very important. Recipe is which everything is mentioned, such as a specification of the ingredient, serve of the ingredients, portion of the ingredient, and weight of the ingredient, and the method of the recipes, and how many portions are there, and what is the actual cost of the recipes, and how we can plate up and how we can garnish it. So this is everything is mentioned on the recipe card. Why recipe is important? Why do we follow recipe? To maintain the quality and the standard of the restaurant. We do not want to get change the taste and the appearance and the quality of the dish. This is very important. If you, your chef is on leave and any new chef is there, if he cook that food, if he doesn't have the standard recipe card or the recipe, so there may be some unbalance in the dish and the appearance or taste or texture that can happen in the dish. So it is also a not good idea to do so, because the customer can go, customer know the taste has been changed, and they will not be regular in your restaurants, and might be you will face loss of customers. So this is very important. Whenever you change the menu or whenever you use the menu, you should have the standard recipe card in place, or you always follow standard recipe card. Show me the some recipe book. Assessor can ask you in your workplace, where do you keep your recipe book? Show me that. So you have to show them your standard recipe cards to your assessor. What is portion? Show me how do you find portion in the recipe. So whenever you make any standard recipe card or whenever you follow any recipe, there is always a portion. So main meal portion is 250 to 300, and the breakfast or the soup portion is, I would say, roughly around 180 to 200, like that, or 150 to 180 gram, the portion for the breakfast or the light meal, and the main meal is between 250 to 300. So that is the portion size. So you can say measuring cups, measuring containers, measuring jugs, by scaling, by portioning different equipment utensils you have in your places, so you follow those portion according to those, or you have certain containers, so you fill them up, keep it them in a fridge. So that is your standard portion size are there. And mostly when you find any standard recipe card, it is always written there the serves, portions, and the method and the quality, the ingredient weight and measurements on the recipe card, so you can easily follow from your standard recipe card. Or when you cook anything, so you always tell that we always follow measurement, we always scale them, we always weight them, then we use in the recipe, so we have exact portion of the numbers in hand. The next question is, what is texture? Texture, when you touch something and you feel it, it is a soft, it is a crunchy, it is a fibrous, it is a crumbly, or it is a smooth. By touching or by eating it, you can feel those textures, that we call it texture. Like such as, let's we eat ice cream. So when we eat ice creams, it feels smooth in our mouth, right? When we knead the dough, naan bread, when we make the naan dough, so on naan dough, when we touch it, it feels soft. That is a soft texture. When we eat bolognese sauce, a small crumbs of meat comes in mouth, we call it crumbling. When we eat any crunchy dish which crunch in our mouth, that is crunchiest. Sometimes crumbling, crunching, velvety, smooth, right? These all are the textures. Differences between texture and appearance of the foods. Appearance means look, how the dish look like, how the presentation is there, and the texture is there. Texture can be crumbly, velvety, smooth, crisp, crunch, fibrous. So these all are the different textures can be in the plate, right? Meat can be soft, meat can be tender, meat can be crumbly. Different types of are there, but appearance is, it is a different garnishes are there, like it is red and white, white and blue, blue and black, any color appearance which enhance the beauty of the dish, that we call it appearance. So there are different garnishes we use on the top, that is appearance. And which plate do you serve, that is also count in appearance. Why it is important to have methods in recipes? This is very important because different recipes we can cook food with the different methods, such as boiling, steaming, blanching, braising, poaching, pan frying, deep frying, pan sauteing, microwaving, roasting, grilling, baking, sous vide, braising, stewing, broiling. These all are the different cooking methods which helps to cook the food precisely and with the right method. And with the right method, it also protects the quality and the nutrition value of the product. All right, the next question is, how do you make chocolate cake? So if you have chocolate cake in your recipe, so you need to tell the recipe according to your restaurants or anything they can ask in the dessert. So you should know the recipes, or you should be familiar with the restaurant menus. What is your prep list? So when any assessor comes, I highly recommend you make a prep list. Just write down on the day task which you're going to do it, and write your name on the prep list and just hang it front of there where you can easily see whatever you do. Just make sure you cross that list and which items or which preparation has been done, so you can cross that and just keep following the checklist. In case assessor asks where your checklist or how do you make it, you can show them, here's my checklist. Checklist is very important to follow the right method and to be organized in the kitchen, because when you go for your shift, how many prep you need to do it, and according to that you have to make sure you make the prep list. According to the prep list, you keep following which are important tasks, and which are later use, you can keep following those tasks. So prep list will keep you organized, and there will be no hassle when you do service. You will be well organized. What is the right way to defrost fish? The right way to defrost the fish is from freezer to we keep it in the cool room on the bottom shelf. We can defrost this way. In the emergency or in the running period, we can defrost in the cold water. We don't recommend this method because this method is not safe, because what happens is the consumption of the water is higher and we waste a lot of water in this while we defrost any meat or seafood. So I really don't recommend that. And the third method is microwave. In case we need it in a hurry in a small portion, we can also do in a microwave. Can you freeze the defrosted fish again if not used? Any defrosted food or any thaw food, we cannot refreeze it. You have to make sure cannot freeze it, because once we defrost them, we cannot freeze it. Either we use it, either it's gone, so we have to throw it, but we cannot refreeze it. Just keep that in mind. Can you freeze the defrosted fish again if not used? If it's not used, you cannot use it. Once you defrost it, you can cook it and you can serve it. But if it's left uncooked, you can keep up to 2 days in the cool room if it's not microwaved. If it's defrosted in the cold water, or if it's defrosted in the cool room, so if you're not using it, you can keep up to 2 days, but within a 2 days you have to cook it and serve it, but you cannot freeze it again, just for your knowledge. Is the seafood supplier and the red meat supplier same on the different suppliers? You should know the seafood comes from the different place, or the meat comes from the different place, or they are both same suppliers. Ask your supervisor, he should know, or ask your head chef, they can tell you according to this, according to your preferences. You wash your hands so many times. Why so? To prevent the safe food handling practices, we follow hand washing procedures, which is very important. Whenever you handle any food or any meat or item, it is very important to wash your hands. Even you touch your face, touch your body, go to washroom, eat something, touch something, brawl something, sneeze, anything. Whenever you remind yourself, wash hands in the kitchen. It is very helpful to maintain the safe and hygiene practices in the kitchen. How does the bacteria killed by washing hands? By soap, right? So by soaping with the rub our fingernails inside and the nails, palm, everything, we rub it with the soap water and the lukewarm water, we wash hands, and then we use sanitizer, and so which helps to protect us by killing bacteria or destroying bacteria. And the next question is, what is better, changing gloves or washing hands, and why do you think it's a better way to prevent cross contamination? Look, this is your call. You like to work with gloves or without gloves. That's totally your call. If you use gloves, so you have to keep changing before and after each task. And if you wash hands regularly before and each every task, this is also very good. If you are comfortable washing your hands again and again and drying them up and using handling different tasks, absolutely fine. If you are keep changing gloves, that is also so. Whatever you feel comfortable with, you can say in your answers. Both way to prevent the cross contamination. If you are keep changing it regular gloves or if you are keep washing it hands regularly. So both way are to stop the cross contamination. But I usually wash hands, or I prefer to wash hands, or I highly prefer to use gloves each and every task. You can say that. What are the cleaning schedule here? How often do you change the canopies? So cleaning schedule, you can tell according to your restaurant what you do. Do you do daily, weekly, monthly? According to that, you can say what do you do on the different stage. So you can explain in your answers. Canopies, you can say we clean it after 6 months, or you clean it, you can say after 6 months. If you don't clean it, their cleaner comes, or the commercialized cleaner comes, they clean the canopies. You can also say 6 months, 3 months, 9 months, up to your restaurant policies. So you can tell in your answers. What is blast chiller and how long it takes to cool down the food? Blast chiller is a new equipment. Let's say if you work in a very big company and they have all the new modern equipments, which blast chiller is one of them. So blast chiller is when you cook food and after cooking you put your food in a trays, and those tray you stack them in a blast chiller straight away. It is like a big fridge and it has fan inside. So you put your hot food inside and put the probe inside the tray and lock the door and put the 90 minutes temperature. Turn it on. It will cool it down your food 0 to 2 degree within a 90 minutes. So, or cooling it down your food more quickly and easy way. Within a 90 minutes, it brings 0 to 2 degree temperature. So that is the blast chiller, which is modern equipment. How do you cool down the food? 2 to 4 hour rules. So cool down is in first 2 hours any food we cook it, we bring temperature from 60 to 21 degree, and further 2 hours we bring from 20 to 0 to 5 degree. The brief explanation of my answer already have been given in my previous videos. You can watch them. Next question is, in first 2 hours cooking something, what should be the food temperature? In first 2 hours when you finish it, after first 2 hours the temperature should be between 20 to 0 to 5 degree after 2 hours. Where is your knife kit? So when you have the test, make sure keep your toolkit on your workplace, so you can show your assessor this is my toolkit. They get very happy when you show them toolkit. What kind of knives do you use? What do you use? Japanese knife? And do you prefer cutting meat or veggies with the Japanese knife? Japanese blade is very sharp and they are very nice knives. So if you haven't watched the knives video, you can go and watch them. What kind of knife do you use? So in your toolkit there are a variety of knives: chef knife, carving knife, paring knife, paletting knife, filleting knife, deboning knife, cleaver, right, and paring knives. So they all different knives are there. If you haven't watched that knife video, go and watch, and you can also see the which knife, how does it look. Why do you use Japanese knife? Because they are sharp and they are reliable and they are very good for the chopping and cutting the food. Do you prefer cutting meat or veggies with Japanese knife? Yes, I love to. If you have, they are quite expensive, but they have very good blade if you like the Japanese knife. Do you cater people have special dietary requirements? Yes. So according to your restaurant, if anybody comes with a dietary requirement, you say yes, we cater the dietary requirements. So next question is, what is halal? Halal is a belief which is a religious belief by Muslims community. So according to the their community. When they eat any meat, that has to be cut according to their ritual and ceremonies, that we call it halal. Next question is, does halal diet include pork? Why not? Halal diet does not include pork because pork is a haram for the Muslim community and it is prohibited in their meal, so they cannot eat pork, especially for Muslim community. How do you provide training to the new trainers, and how do you train them to use mixing bowls? What are the things you should keep in mind while using mixing bowls? So, do you train staff? Yes. How do you train staff? I provide them policies and procedure of the organization. I show them around. I meet, introduce with the new staff, and I show them all the equipments, and I tell them how to operate them. I show them how they works, and I tell them about the menu, what menu we do it, how we do it, what service we do it, and how we use it, how we prep it, where we keep it. We'll give them induction as well. So we will make sure that we all are familiar with everything before they actually start working or actually start preparing anything. And we will always monitor them and we'll show them their ins and outs, and we also tell them how to check before we handle any equipment. We will always check it is assembled properly or not. These everything we will check. If they will give you any task, like let's say you handling the mixture or the boiler or the combi oven, how will you train them? So you should know how you handle them and how you can pass this information to your trainee, so that you can explain your answer. So the last question in this one, what is your future goal? That's totally your answer. What you wanna say? I want to be a Michelin star. I want to be a head chef in the restaurant. I want to be a good master chef any restaurant. I want to be a restaurant owner. I want to be a hotel owner. Anything according to your answer. So we have discussed this all 74 questions which I was talking about. Make sure watch this video. If you find helpful, just don't forget to comment it, don't forget to like it, and don't forget to share it. Keep supporting it. There is a thanks button on every video. If you want to thanks it, you can thanks it. You can just press that one and you can show your appreciation and your love through the videos or through the thanks. And I highly appreciated those are watching this video, they are not liking it. Please make sure you like it, and this is helping me to make more content with the better quality, to bring more ideas and more information on these topics. I'll see you in the next video. Till then, take care of yourself. Bye bye. Thank you.